Welcome to the Point of Darkness.
When Artyom started working as a night taxi driver, he quickly learned that the night was different from the day in more ways than darkness. After midnight, the city seemed to change. Streets emptied, apartment windows went dark, and the few passengers who remained spoke quietly, as if they were afraid of waking something sleeping between the buildings. Everything began on a rainy Thursday. At 2 o'clock in the morning, a new ride request appeared on his screen. The pickup location was on an old road near the cemetery. Artyom sighed and drove there. Under a flickering street lamp stood a man in a dark coat. His skin looked unnaturally pale, almost gray. Without saying a word, he opened the back door and sat down. "Where to?" Artyom asked. The passenger gave an address in a calm voice. That was all. During the entire ride, he never spoke again. When they reached the destination, the man stepped out of the car and disappeared behind the gate of an old house. The ride ended automatically in the app. Payment received. Simple. Or so it seemed. The next night, at exactly the same time, another request appeared. The same pickup location, the same man, the same destination. Again, he sat silently in the back seat. Again, he vanished behind the gate. On the third night, Artyom decided to start a conversation. "Have we met before?" he asked. The passenger slowly lifted his eyes toward the rearview mirror. Yes, the answer was short and cold. Nothing else was said. A week passed. Then, strange things started happening. After every ride, droplets of water remained on the back seat even when the weather was dry. The interior of the car smelled like wet soil. Sometimes the rearview mirror became covered with a thin layer of fog. Despite the heater running at full power, the feeling of unease grew stronger every night. Eventually, curiosity overcame fear. One afternoon, Artyom drove to the destination address. The house was abandoned. Its windows were covered with wooden boards. Weeds filled the yard. Rust covered the lock hanging from the front door. A woman living across the street noticed him staring. "Looking for someone?" she asked. "Does anyone live there?" The woman frowned. "No. Nobody has lived there for more than 20 years. Artyom felt a chill. That night he barely slept. Yet when 2 o'clock arrived, the request appeared again. The cemetery road, the silent passenger, the abandoned house. This time Artyom activated a voice recorder on his phone. As soon as the man entered the vehicle, Artyom spoke. "Who are you?" The passenger stared through the window. For a long time there was only silence. Then he answered. "You already asked that. When?" "A long time ago." A wave of cold moved down Artyom's spine. When they arrived, he locked the doors. "No, not tonight. Tell me what's going on." The man looked at him with tired eyes. "You wouldn't believe me." Then the lock clicked. The passenger opened the door and stepped outside. Artyom jumped out immediately and ran after him. But behind the gate there was nobody. No footsteps. No movement. No sound. Only an empty yard illuminated by moonlight. The next morning he listened to the recording. His hands trembled. Only his own voice could be heard. The passenger's replies were completely absent. It was as if nobody had been sitting in the back seat at all. From that moment, fear turned into obsession. Artyom began researching the abandoned house and the cemetery road. Days later he discovered an old newspaper archive. One article immediately caught his attention. It described a fatal accident that had happened 20 years earlier. Late at night, a driver had lost control of his vehicle near the cemetery. The car overturned and burst into flames. The driver died at the scene. Next to the article was a photograph. Artyom froze. The man in the picture looked exactly like his mysterious passenger, only younger. Much younger. His eyes moved to the name beneath the photograph. His heart nearly stopped. The name was Artyom. The surname matched too. He reread the article again and again. The same face. The same name. The same road. All day he tried to convince himself it was a coincidence, but deep inside he knew it wasn't. That night he returned to work. At exactly 2 o'clock, The request appeared. When he reached the cemetery road, the man was already waiting. This time the passenger spoke first. "You found the photograph." Artyom slammed the brakes. "Who are you?" The answer came immediately. "You? No. Yes." The rest of the ride passed in silence. When they reached the abandoned house, the passenger remained seated. "Tonight the route is different," he said. At that exact moment, the navigation screen changed by itself. The destination became the cemetery road, the same road where the accident had happened. Artyom's chest tightened. Rain suddenly began falling against the windshield. Heavy rain, exactly like the night everything started. He wanted to stop the car. He wanted to run, but his hands felt impossibly heavy. The vehicle continued moving forward. As they approached a sharp curve in the road, the passenger leaned forward. "Remember." The word echoed inside Artyom's mind, and suddenly he did, not with his eyes. With his memory. He saw wet asphalt, reflecting headlights. He felt overwhelming exhaustion. He remembered looking away for only a second. Then came the impact, the scream of twisting metal. Fire. Pain. Darkness. He remembered dying. Right there, on that road. 20 years ago. The truth shattered everything. He had never been driving the passenger. He had been the passenger all along. Every night he had repeated the same journey between the place of his death and the home he never managed to reach. The man beside him smiled for the first time. "Why now?" Artyom whispered. "Because now you remember." The passenger's face slowly changed. The pale features became identical to Artyom's own reflection. They were the same person. The car rolled to a stop. The rain ended. The street lamp outside flickered once and went dark. The passenger vanished. Then the seats disappeared. The dashboard disappeared. The steering wheel disappeared. Everything faded away. Only the empty road remained. The following morning, workers near the cemetery discovered an old neglected grave hidden beneath years of grass and dirt. Someone had cleaned the stone during the night. The inscription carried the name of a man who had died in a car accident 20 years earlier. Artyom. For the first time in decades, the restless spirit felt no fear. Only peace, because he finally understood something terrifying. The scariest passengers are not always sitting in the back seat. Sometimes they have been staring at you from the mirror the entire time.
Friends, thank you for watching to the end. If you don't mind, please support me with a like and a subscription. I'll see this and will make more and better videos. Thank you for your attention.